I welcome Mario Draghi's report, and I also compliment Ursula von der Leyen on selecting him to do so, because he is very well equipped with his history, both in financing and as Prime Minister of Italy. So he is more equipped than anyone else to look at the bigger picture. And in this instance, he has outlined what Europe needs to do to regain competitiveness, because we've lost it. And in that regard, we have to embrace new technologies. We have to look at what is required to deliver the Green Deal in particular. We have targets for 2030, Fit for 55, 90% emission reductions by 2040. And we haven't put the infrastructure in place to do so. So there is no point in having targets if you do not do something to implement them. And he has rightly identified a huge funding gap which must be bridged. And that will be a big challenge to the member states, how they are going to go about borrowing, which will be required, how we're going to attract investment, particularly from private sources, and combine public and private expenditure to deliver the necessary infrastructure and progress, and to do it all in a competitive manner. So he's absolutely right. We were very good in the past at technological innovation, but then we basically sold it off to other countries like China to develop it, and then they were selling solar panels back to us, which we should have been producing ourselves. So that all has to be turned around. I think Mario Draghi has identified that, and embracing new technologies like AI are going to be crucial to that. We have to look at the combined strength of Europe to once again become world leaders, but world leaders whose work will benefit European society. And that means the reindustrialization of Europe in a very global, sensitive manner, because we cannot be too restrictive in terms of trying to protect ourselves. We have to be open and fair, but at the same time, we mustn't be foolish. We were somewhat foolish in the past. We are now paying the price. Mario Draghi has recognised that, and he's telling us, basically, wake up and smell the coffee. Well, we have top-class universities. We have top-class research. We have the Horizon funding, and by combining our resources there, we can develop many technologies which will progress what we want to achieve. And AI is going to be huge in that regard. We have implemented an AI Act which sets a framework for the standards required. That will need ongoing, I think, review as things develop. But certainly, if we do not embrace technologies, if we do not do it as quickly as those in South Korea and Japan and Taiwan, then we have to ask ourselves, why are we behind everyone else when, in essence, we should be ahead? And I think that is something that really we will have to utilise the best resources we have, particularly at university level and also at industrial level, to bring about the measures which can deliver for us. Well, I read that with interest and a little bit of a wry smile on my face, because I was a rapporteur for the GDPR, and at the time it was seen as groundbreaking. I remember when the CEO of Apple came to the Parliament, he said that it was the world global standard, and it has been more or less followed worldwide. So for Mario Draghi to say it is inhibiting development, I wouldn't question it. I think often we are over rigorous in the way we apply our legislation, and if it needs to be reviewed, and I think I would trust him that he's correct, then we better review it, and review it quickly, because GDPR was there basically to protect people's personal data and not to inhibit development, not to inhibit research, And I think we would spend a lot of time trying to balance both. The fact now that it's being interpreted in a way that that balance isn't there, I really got a little bit of a jolt when I read it. But at the same time I said, he must be right. So it's up to us now as legislators to correct it and make it work properly as we intended initially.